Join us live on the Sherry Lord Talk Show podcast. Start your day off with the Higher Vibrational Podcast with weekly guests covering spirituality, healthy foods, and so much more. Go to sherrylord.com for more info. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sherry Lord, your host, and we have a very special guest. We're going to be introducing her very shortly. It's Dr. Joy Pedersen. And her topic is how karma is affecting you and the world now. This is going to be a really hot topic, and you're really going to want to join us in this conversation. Make sure you put hi on the chat so that you can win a drawing. You have to chat in order to play this drawing that we're doing now. We're going to give away 2 prizes. One's from Joy and one's for me, and it's a book. Not my book, but Satyama Publishing Company has blessed us with some of their award-winning authors, and Joy has a lovely gift that she'd like to offer too, but you have to chat something. You have to say hi or something in chat in order for us to play this beautiful giveaway drawings that we have. We just want to say grab your coffee, make sure you grab your tea or your latte, and I'm going to be playing Joy's info on the bottom in just a minute. But I want to say a little bit about her. You know, Joy Pedersen is a doctor of divinity, intuitive licensed spiritual healer, and certified spiritual health coach, a non-denomination ordained minister, certified law of attraction practitioner, and multiple international best-selling author and founder of Express Success, LLC, serving an international clientele. You know, Archangel Michael, she's told me this story appeared her and she did her first book, but I want her to tell us a little bit more about that and a little bit more about her and how karma is affecting you and the world today. This is a very hot topic. You really want to tune in and join us and ask a question. If we got time, we will answer it. Welcome, Joy. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you, and happy to be here. So, Michael really changed my life in that he appeared to me in 2004 and asked me to join him in a healing practice and write his book, Wisdom of the Guardian, which Wisdom of the Guardian, Treasures from Archangel Michael to Change Your Life is a book that he channeled to me. And I had already been channeling angels for a decade, so I knew I could take the dictation. But I didn't have any clue on what the healing practice was going to be about. And I just went with it. And early on, he taught me that I could clear demons. And I stepped into just working with a business clientele at the time because I ran a business network. And that's the people I was associating with. And I started addressing the cause of their challenges, whether they were going through a divorce, had relationship issues, money issues. They were working really hard and they couldn't get the business that they wanted, or it wasn't coming easily. So I was addressing everyday matters, but sprinkled within that, I was seeing that I could see past lives. I could see past lives of myself already. I didn't know I could do it for other people. So I was seeing their past lives, and I would go through the beginning of time sometimes, cross all time and space, and identify some of the glitches that were causing what they were dealing with presently. And that is really what our topic is about today, is really karma.
Yes.
And I find that karma, which is really an element of cause and effect, it's a different universal law, but it's really the lesson involved. So if somebody has created an error, it's a mistake. They're not necessarily held in judgment, but they have to learn from all perspectives how this choice impacted all.
Yeah.
So when you go to heaven, and many people have heard they go through a review process, at that time, sometimes they decide, or later they decide, oh, I really made a mistake. I really want to make up for this, or I want to learn this at a deeper level. And they'll choose to incarnate and learn that lesson.
Okay.
And the dynamics around that will play out. I'm reminded of a client who had IBS. And it wasn't that he chose to have IBS before coming here. He
Okay.
chose to learn the lesson of humility.
Oh, wow.
So in that process of learning humility, he learned it through having IBS. And he learned humility, and he didn't have to be here any longer, and he could ascend and return back to heaven. So we often pick a main lesson, several lessons that we're going to play out here, and then our circumstances will contribute to our experiencing some element of working that lesson out. And once we learn that lesson, we can move on from that.
Mhm.
But it's really our past life people who we've been in the past who created the error. It's all part of our own soul. We don't always understand what that karma is, though. And we get frustrated because we're just struggling here saying, wait a minute, like I'm really a good person. I'm not doing anything bad to anybody. Why am I dealing with this challenge? But it really occurred in another life, and it's playing out here.
Wow. You can heal that so that you don't have to repeat that, or can you heal that to where they can no longer have to experience that and they can heal from that?
Yes, you can heal that. Now, it's tricky sometimes. It depends on what's involved with the karma, how big, how powerful the person
Yeah.
was. For example, I've worked for years on the curse that Athena made on Medusa, and that ended up showing up as Sjogren's in this life to a number of people who carried her energy.
Wow.
So people can, depending on the high level individual that's reincarnating, they may come through several different individuals, many individuals in some cases, to work
Mhm.
out a number of dynamics. And different people may have different pieces of their karma to clear, and they're worked out through those individuals. But as the karma is lifted, it affects all of the what I
Yeah.
call the fractals on
Yeah.
Earth who may
Mhm.
be carrying that energy. But sometimes it's cleared in one person and not in another because that person still carries an element of it that needs to be released within them. Although anybody who sits here today and wants to forgive themselves and others on the deepest level
Yeah.
and really surrender to source, the issue, themselves, and whatever dynamics, that will help on their own. Or they can hire somebody like myself and someone else who has the gifts to clear these issues.
You also, when we were talking behind the scenes here, you mentioned some you're helping someone clear curses. Can you go a little bit highlights about that? Because people don't quite understand how it affects them. It doesn't affect everyone depending on what they chose in this life. I get that. But there's people who need to understand they've been going around and they don't know why this is happening. And how can they, is it still going back and clearing that? Or why, how did, and I had somebody, a client who just had something like that similar, but a little different. And it was done a long time ago, but it was stopping her from moving forward.
So I cleared two curses between yesterday and today. Yesterday's curse was somebody who, a family that was dealing with financial issues,
Yeah.
and I just happened to I'm guided by source where to go, and they didn't mention a curse to me, but I happened to
You
see
know.
one. It was an
Yeah.
ancestral curse, so the mistake was made by a grandfather on the husband's side, and the wife said that, oh, she goes, he always thinks that we've been cursed or he's been cursed because of
Okay.
financial issues.
Yeah.
And I did find the curse. I did clear the curse. And what
Good.
was interesting is the grandfather in his lineage had trouble letting letting go of anger and resentment and blame, which was keeping it in place. So I had to really work with the ancestor in that lifetime to fully release it. But anybody that is stuck in anger now is holding themselves in the world back.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
cleared that curse yesterday. And then this morning I came up with another one. And a lot of times, in this case, there was some witchy energy
Yeah.
attached to it. Witchcraft in general, I've found that if anybody has any darkness within their DNA, which is common, um, they darkness can work through even a spell that's supposedly of the light and influence in a negative way. So I don't know if those dynamics specifically were involved in this particular case, but I saw this witchy energy and there was a curse, and I had to clear that. And um, you never know how much these things are ingrained. I did one years ago. A healer was referred to me because she had a curse on her, and then 5 healers that tried to help her got results of that curse. Like it impacted them negatively. So I had to clean up all the healers. The curse had 128 tentacles on it, and I found it was a curse that was put on Joan of Arc that helped break open a protective egg that she had around her that ultimately helped cause her death.
Oh, wow.
So you have no idea how far and wide these things can impact.
Wow, that is really fascinating. I know you have a lot of stories to share with us about your work, which we find very fascinating, and love how you are sharing this with us. Is there anything else that stood out in your work that you can highlight and share with us?
I think the biggest thing right now is to understand the world issues that are occurring. I work on a global level, clearing what's going on in the world. So I'll look behind the scenes, working with Source, a colleague, on some of the issues. And a lot of karma is being played out in the world right now. What
Yeah,
people have a tendency to do is they watch the news, they go, oh my God, the world's falling apart. What if
yeah,
this happens to me? And what people don't realize, if they work on their own karma and they raise their own vibration, the things that are happening in the world may not affect them at all, or they will be given the tools and the guidance to rise above or navigate through this terrain.
hmm,
But if you look at things that are going on in the world and they're disturbing to you, it it means that there's something within you that you haven't released yet. There's a either a tie to the story itself or the type of story it is. And you need to clear it within yourself so you're not triggered by the news. But if you're triggered by the news, understand that because you have a connection to it, you may have within your own power and soul the ability to move the needle and help clear it. So, surrendering that story to source, clearing within you the connections to that story can help evolve the world as a whole. But if there's karma being played out on the somewhere else in the news on this, in whether it's this country or another, don't always assume that it's going to affect you because it may not be your karma, it's their karma being played out. It doesn't mean that you don't have compassion and you don't send them love,
yeah.
but you look within yourself mostly to evolve anything.
Wow, that is really wonderful information and tools for people to empower themselves too. And some people do need help, and we're happy to that they can, call you or somebody in that field. But you're an expert at this too as well. So I think this is wonderful. How does go back to the financial stuff?
Mhm.
What is that? Is that all karma? Is that a curse, or is it a combination of whatever that is? If somebody's moving through that,
Well, there's a combination of things that may be affecting finance. Darkness has run the
yeah,
whole area of finance, so there's that element. Some people have signed contracts for fame and fortune. That
okay,
we can clear those things if somebody wants to clear those contracts.
yeah,
We found out, a colleague found out recently that contracts have been taken out on people's physical bodies that affect areas such as finance and relationships, health and well-being. I discovered them years ago on the soul and have been clearing those for individuals.
yeah,
And then And now I do it for the physical body. But now we also have to clear the contracts that people have made directly in
Yeah.
other lifetimes.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we come out of an era of like the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, when there
Yeah.
was extreme violence. And a lot of those negative experiences are still within people's memories: persecution, torture,
Yeah.
when people were controlled, oppression. And we need to clean that up in our memory bank, because the trauma still lives within our memory bank and computer. And what that ends up doing is negatively impacting our programming, our belief in our capability and ability to be able to manifest money with ease or do what we're here to do. Light workers in particular have often been persecuted.
Yeah.
They're here to serve. They're here to make money serving, if
Yep.
that's divinely inspired. And there have been things like a belief system created by darkness that people work for God, they're not supposed to be paid.
Yeah.
That was created by darkness. We cleared the origins of that, but that doesn't mean the belief system isn't still within the consciousness.
Wow. So there's levels, is what I'm
Mhm.
hearing you say.
Mhm.
And so once you clear all that, they just give them a new belief to put in, or they just shift the belief to shift their world.
Well, sometimes what we're releasing is what occurred, what their belief system was at the time, what their choices were when they died from that lifetime. I'm never going to do this again. So sometimes when they decide never to do that again, they choose never to open their mouth again. They're not
Yeah.
going to sell again. They're not going to do things that would um, help them in this particular lifetime. So when we clear it in the previous lifetimes, they're set free with that to a degree. But sometimes lifetimes have accumulated that storyline, and we have to clear more than one life. But also we can bring in new coding, because if we look at ourselves like a computer and
Yep.
we put in new coding that it
Yep.
serves them better, that helps move things forward faster.
Yes, and it does. You're so awesome. And this is such wonderful information for our listeners and who are watching this and who really need this information to be unblocked in some way. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but it's releasing them and having that freedom to really live the life they really want.
Mhm.
What is one of the other highlights in your life that really struck out to you that you've helped?
One of the things in clearing world issues
Yeah.
or really dark scenarios or things, people's problems really on a deepest level.
Yeah.
In the past, the real cause was always arrogance.
Yeah.
If anyone thinks they know better than source, they're
Yep.
kidding themselves. They're here for an experience. But people, when they check with source, is this for my highest and best, and follow it, they create less karma. They don't create karma in those situations because they're following what source suggests.
Yeah.
And when they try to fix their mistakes, if they're not checking with source how to best fix them, they still
Right.
may be creating karma. But we're at the end of the display of karma in this world. We're moving into the new golden age,
Yes.
where we're not supposed to be having karma in our face anymore.
Yes.
People that don't want to let that go and work that out at this point may be moved somewhere else to work it out somewhere else. But we're moving into an era where we're not to be demonstrating that to the degree we are now. And it's all coming up right now to be cleared.
Absolutely. And I have been getting that message. So, yeah. And then there's a lot of us, including you, in what you offer and do. And there's a lot of us being step up to the plate because they're ready. And you're right. It is the new era. It is, we're already moving into that new era, which I think is a wonderful place to be. And people want to be there. And it's good. We're really happy that you do help people to get there too. And I think that is wonderful. What about people who there's different types of clearing that gets done. What's another type that you've experienced with somebody that was kind of stuck and they have a hard time. They go from like one relationship to another relationship to another relationship.
Mhm.
And it's like they never find their partner. I've seen that.
Well, one of the things that I end up doing is I work with their high self and their inner child, their low self. And then sometimes people have more than one, they have really one high self, but when they have somebody that's sort of driving their car,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's one individual who has issues they need to work out. But also sometimes there's a team, and the team of individuals who are playing through that vehicle aren't necessarily always in agreement, or like somebody's really attached to a particular romantic timeline or individual that they want to come together with, and somebody else in their team says no, that. So there's hidden issues there sometimes that we need to work on. Sometimes it's their inner child has a fear of something,
Yeah.
that just talking with the inner child and getting from the inner child what their belief system is and why, and then just having a conversation and say, that doesn't need to play out now. Or there was an interesting reading that occurred the other day when working on me, where there was issues from 361 AD
Wow.
that affected a grandmother on my father's side. And those limiting beliefs would affect anybody in any kind of relationship. So it's really interesting, and that would affect the whole lineage. So sometimes it's within the ancestral line that the challenge lies. I thought that, when we pinpoint that particular date, it was interesting. But when I do it myself and looking at people's lives, I'm usually shown the storyline particularly, and then I'll address it and release what happened there, and then it just unravels
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
everyone connected.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a blessing, because people don't realize when you heal, it also heals others, and raises the consciousness and other things that it does. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And we think it's wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to share? We want to say thank you to Bonnie for watching us, and we're definitely going to put her in the drawing.
Great. I'll share one other story. Somebody came to me for finance issues,
Yeah.
and I saw that it was an ancestor in Italy that
Ooh.
made a mistake. And so I cleared the mistake then, but then I also was guided to clear short sale. And in the Midwest, well, apparently that individual reincarnated, her ancestor reincarnated in the Midwest, was going through a short sale. So I was able to benefit him in this lifetime and the other lifetime. And then my client was able to benefit because of being a descendant.
Oh, how wonderful! That is amazing. And how can people get a hold of you? We're going to do the drawing in a minute, but people, you have a phone number or an email or a website so that people can get a hold of you?
Well, they can reach me they can read more at my website, Joy Pedersen, JoyPedersen.com. They can email me at info@expresssuccess.net. And I do a monthly group
Yep.
call, a membership that
Yep.
donating a monthly membership to a winner
Yep.
today.
Yep.
That will include a discount in my services for the month they're a member. But I'm happy to help, and I'm always happy to give a complimentary call just to engage with somebody, to see if we're a fit, talk about packages and programs and opportunities. And if we're a fit, we can move forward.
You're also an author, and you have 2 books. And I knew the one, but you surprised me with the second one. I didn't know you had a second book out. Can you kind of explain a little bit about it?
I still want to redo this one. That's why I don't really promote it too much. The information is fine. Clear Your Past and Change Your Future is about the work that Archangel Michael and I did, clearing the challenges really of humanity. And I have channeled messages in there from Jesus and Michael and other archangels and ascended masters speaking about world issues, what's really going on as far as why our challenges are such. And we opened up Heaven on Earth a decade ago, but because the darkness was fighting it so much and people's egos would fight it so much, it didn't really have the legs it could have had. But Heaven on Earth is available to anybody who wants to step into it and can raise their vibration enough to experience it. It's available just like the New Golden Age is available to us. We
Yeah.
just have to build it.
Awesome. That is amazing. We're going to do the drawing really quick. And what I want to do is our first drawing is going to be this book. And it's called The Spiritual Archetypes. And we want to give credit to SatiyamaPublishing.com for sending us some giveaway prizes. And this is by Kristen Kurtz. And you can also take her test, a free test to see what type of archetype you are. But we have her book. So we're going to do the drawing real quick. So I'm going to kind of leave and come back. Give me just a second. I got to run it on another tab. We're hoping in the near future we'll be able to show you online all the names running. But give me a second. All right, and our winner is Bonnie Bird. Thank you, Bonnie. You won this book, and this will be shipped out to you. What I need you to do is to email me at sherry-lord@hotmail.com, and I will send this to you, or you can chat through Facebook on Messenger, and I will send you the book. And now we're ready to give away. Joy, can you explain again what you're giving away?
Yes, it's a month membership in our sacred circle. On the first Saturday of every month, we do a healing that includes personal and global and hot topics of the month. And we have a training from Source for that day that's gotten the day before. And then we have a Q&A, and we have a community on Facebook. And then that gives people a discount on my services.
All right, give me a second. I'm going to disappear and come back. We got to run eventually, like I said, we'll have it where you can see it, but I haven't worked that out yet. We're still working on that. All right, and guess who's the winner twice? It's Bonnie Bird. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you so much. She's watched this before, so she's going to be excited. And how can Bonnie, she can get a hold of me. Just email me, and then I will forward it to Joy, and then Joy will connect with you. I think this will be the best way to do that. And so you get a chance, make sure you email me or message me on Facebook. Or call me at 941-961-2731. And again, Joy, how can people get a hold of you?
Probably writing me at info@expresssuccess.net is probably the most efficient. They can also do it through my Facebook page, Dr. Joy Peterson.
Yay, thank you. And we want to let people know if you want to be a guest on our show or place an ad. We'll be running ads in November. Go to www.sherrylord.com/podcast. You can get more information about Joy and our upcoming guests coming on. We just want to say thank you, Joy, and we appreciate everyone who's watching us and all who's chatted. Thank you so much, Bonnie, as well. And thank you, Joy, for joining us. We can't wait to have you back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.